Okay, so I'm just going to real quick go over how the third grade VBC is going to look this year. And it's going to look different than in years past, because in years past we've had a specific classroom where we had a group of 20 to 24 third graders in a class and with 3 or 4 leaders, and usually they've met over at Building C past the Student Center. But because of construction, we're not sure what things are going to look like. We didn't want third graders walking back and forth. And plus we thought this might be a fun format anyway, so we're going to change from a classroom format to a small group format, which is similar to what 4th and 5th graders have been doing. So we're going to kind of follow that a bit, but kind of tweak it just a little bit. So all of you are going to be responsible for, so right now we have about 155 to 160 third graders who are registered. And we currently have about 21-ish small groups. So that's breaking down to about 7 third graders per group. So you'll each have a group of 7 to 8 third graders. Now, ideally we can get 2 people in each group, 2 leaders for a group, and that way if someone needs to use the bathroom, then we have that taken care of. But if we can't, we have a floater, admin floater who's going to help, and I'll be there to help float around and take care of that too. But that's our goal. So right now we have 157 kids, 20 plus small group leaders, and let's see what that looks like. So we also think this might be a great experience for our third graders too, and kind of gives them, because they've done the class, they've gone through VBC, they've done the classroom for 3 or 4 years, and they're ready for something different. So this is definitely going to be something different. So youth leaders, I'm also, hopefully most of you will have someone to work with, but I'm teaming you up with people, and I'm going to expect you to be small group leaders and to take the material and lead it with them. So it's only a 20 to 25 minute time that you're actually doing the hardcore leading of the small group time. So I think you guys can do it. So here's real quick what the schedule is going to look like. So when kids begin to check in, they're going to check in at about 12, 20-ish or whatever. They're going to check into the Bible theater room, the room that we were just in. When they get there, we'll have someone at the check-in table. They'll check in, and then they'll have some free time in Bible theater with all the games and music going. They'll just have a good time. At roughly 12:30, 12:35, I will call them together, and I will be up front on the stage, and I will gather them together for a couple of different activities until we get to the sanctuary. A couple of those activities will involve them sitting in their small group with you and doing answer this question or do this activity. And it'll kind of be an intro into the lesson. It could just be something fun. But for day 1, what we'll do is here's how the groups are going to be formed. As we get there, as the kids get there on day 1, and I call them all together, we'll just have all of you kind of spread out around the room, and they're just going to go and pick their group. All right? Because some of them have friends, and they want to be with their friends. Some of them have specific leaders, and we're going to try and make that work as best we can. Now, obviously, it's a group of 12 people who all want to be together. We'll have to split them in half into like 6 and 6, right? And so we're going to hope that works. It's worked in 4th and 5th, and so we think it can work in 3rd. And so I'll give them some instructions and say, hey, you're going to go, if you got a friend, take a friend. And then once they've all got their groups, I'll say something like, okay, is anyone really unhappy, doesn't like what they're doing, doesn't like the group to have, and we'll kind of move them around. Once you have your group, you're going to sit with your group and you're going to get their name tags. And so they're going to pre-print name tags for us that look like secret agents, and we'll have lanyards or pin them on or whatever, and they'll write their name on their name tag, and that will be their name tag for the week. You can also name your group. We'll probably have like little signs that you can have, and that you can kind of name your group, and they can all sign their sign or whatever. You'll have a small group bin that'll have all your supplies in it, so each day you'll grab that and have that nearby. And that's where you can put their name tags, and that's where you can keep all your supplies for a small group, and that's where we'll fill the bins with stuff that you need. So we'll do that. So from 12:30 to 1, that's with me, leading stuff from up front, and you'll also be with your group doing different things. Then at 1-ish, we'll see how the flow is. We may have to take a hike to the bathrooms or whatever to help with kindergarten for a second. But we'll head down towards the sanctuary, and we'll sit in the sanctuary and watch the drama and the music time. Then after that, we're going to go to a station. You're going to do, all of us are going to do the same state, right? No, we're not. We're going to be doing 2 stations a day, but it'll be different. So half the group will go to one station, half the group will go to another, and you'll have that schedule. So one day, some of you will do a mission station. One day, one of you will do crafts, science, and rec. So those are the 4 stations. You'll visit one of those during the week. So you only get to do missions once, craft once, science once. And then at about 2:25-ish, you're going to head back into Bible theater. We'll all get everyone organized, and I'll just do a quick intro to the Bible story. And if you haven't seen the drama, you know that the drama isn't totally biblically accurate. So I will go over the story in kind of a way that's biblically accurate for them. And that will give you time kind of, where's my stuff, let me get my supplies, make sure I got everything. So I give you about 5-6 minutes to take a deep breath before they come. So I'll do that just for a few minutes, and then we'll do our small group time. Now, we don't necessarily, in order to save room, because of the renovations, we don't necessarily have, we have a few designated classrooms, so we're going to find spots to sit around Bible theater. We'll have 4 or 5 classrooms. I'm not sure what those classroom numbers are yet, but we'll let you know, and you can pick spots. You can even maybe sit over here in the hallway, where there's no, as long as there's not too many kids walking around. We also have ways to like divide Bible theater. We can pull up the walls to make it quieter. So we're just kind of going to experiment and try to figure out what's best on Monday, and then Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, we'll know where we're going to meet. And this is the time that you're going to be leading. I'll be wandering around as much as I can to help. I think Gabrielle Bjornson is the volunteer who's going to be wandering around to help. But you'll have all your supplies, and this is where your packet comes in. That has your small group material in there, what you're going to be doing each day. So a small group leader is a little bit different than a classroom leader in that when you have discussion, you want to actively include them in the discussion time. And we'll talk about that here in a little bit. And I think it's actually more fun than being a classroom leader. Being a small group leader is more fun because you get to know, you only have 7 or 8 kids, you get to know them really well. So after that, after your small group time, you'll come back, we'll gather back in Bible theater at 3, and that's when we'll have our snack and some free time in Bible theater. So you're going to bring the snack to us in Bible theater. We'll let the kids sit around in Bible theater, eat the snack, play a game if they're done early, and then we'll gather back together at 3:15 in Bible theater. We'll do some closing, wrap up, a fun game, a review, and call it good. So that is kind of the schedule. As a small group leader, here's what we're going to ask of you. So as a small group leader, we want you to sit together as a group in the sanctuary. We'll probably have a designated section in the sanctuary to sit in, so we just want to make sure you're sitting with them. And if you've got 2 leaders, if you're doing it together, one's in one, don't sit next to each other, but kind of spread yourself out amongst the group. So here's the thing with the small group time here's what I want us to be thinking about, is just thinking about the kids that are having trouble connecting, who don't know anybody, and who maybe this format is kind of chaotic for them, so they need someone to connect with them. So be thinking about them. So if I'm coming new for that first day, and I get a group, and I'm only in that group for 5 minutes, and then we're all just rushing to the sanctuary, I got to find my own seat, and then we're all rushing to the station time, I'm totally lost, and it's 2:30 before I have any time with my small group. So you want to make sure before you leave for the sanctuary, you got all your group, and you're going to go sit down together. You want to go to your station together. You want to obviously do your small group time. And if it works, to eat snack together. It may not work, but we'll see how it works. But if it's cool, if everyone gets their snack, you just sit in a circle, even if it's for 3 or 4 minutes, where everyone's just eating snack together, and then they go off to do Papa Shot or Foursquare or whatever. So that's what we're going to ask as a small group there, just to be kind of look out, just be thinking about the kids that have trouble connecting, and make sure they feel connected and part of the group. And then the other thing to think about is, as a leader, I'm trying to think of some key words to think about as a small group leader. You also have in your folder some characteristics. Oh yeah, when you get the small group leader information, on the back page, it has 14 tips for being a great small group leader. And I kind of narrowed it down to 5 key words. So as I think about what does it mean to be a small group leader, think about investing. So you have those 15 hours to invest in the kids, to really get to know them, to find out what they like, what they don't like. Obviously by Tuesday or Wednesday, you want to be able to call them by name without needing their name tag. So you just want to invest in those kids and just let them know that you care, which is the bottom line too. So, and then as a leader, I want you to be looking. So always be looking in your small group time if someone's not talking, to make sure that you're asking them a question directly or including them in conversations. To be looking for your kids in your group who may feel like they're not connected, and going over and playing a game of air hockey with them, or and eating snack with them, sit down and eat snack with them, just to make sure that they are feeling connected. And then work towards connecting them with any other third graders in your group, or even outside of your group. Just hey, go to the same school, hang out, and then hang out during free time. Just help them connect. They're getting to the point where 4th and 5th definitely. Those pre-teenage relationships are really important. 3rd graders are really close to that, where having friends is an important thing. And so you guys can be their friends, but also helping them connect with other friends, other kids that could possibly be their friends, and here at church as well. And then engage with the kids. So that's, we do that in the classroom where we're engaging with them if we're teaching kindergarten, first, second. But when I think about engaging is, having conversations that might intentionally lead them to faith, right? Even outside the small group time. So if they're doing their station, if they're at the mission station, having them, giving them a question that might lead them to think about, this is what it means to serve others and care for others, and how might I be able to do that? So just engaging them in the spiritual side of things as well. And then just a couple other things as far as curriculum. This is your folder. You want to have this folder, bring it with you, and you'll want to carry it with you all the time. Because what you're also going to get on that first time as we meet on Monday at 12:30 is you're going to put together your roster. So you're going to have, here's my 8 kids, here's their names, and you're going to keep that with you because the first few days you're probably not going to remember. And then you want to make sure I've got everybody, and then you're going to keep that with you. So that'll have your roster in it. It'll also have the curriculum. And so here's what I would do, probably for the small group curriculums. I would just read it over probably twice before arriving to VBC. If you read it over twice and kind of got the general gist and reading the Bible story, the verses, I think you'll be good to go. Because you'll also have a chance at some point, maybe at VBC while the kids are having free time, to kind of glance over it. But I think just kind of reading it over a few times, understanding where we're going, you'll be set to go. Also in the curriculum we have some overview of safety, procedures, and policies. Once again, I would in your small group also create guidelines, right? No one's going to talk while anyone else is talking. You're going to listen. If I'm talking, we'll raise our hand, we'll speak kind words, any of those things. And I'm not going to be surprised if we have some issues in 3rd grade, because that's just the way 3rd graders are. So generally my policy is if you talk to them, it doesn't work, I come and I'll talk to them. I pull aside, talk to them. If that doesn't work, then I will talk to the parent and say, hey, we're having a little trouble. Got any suggestions, things that we can do that might help this 3rd grader listen and pay attention? And usually the parent then goes and talks to the kid, and the kid then responds and does something that mom and dad are going to be checking in. But if that doesn't work, then what we'll do is we'll ask the parent to come hang out. And so that usually takes care of everything. So as far as safety, this is going to be, so I'm not 100% sure what we're going to look like up here as far as bathroom policy. We're not going to, if we're going to be up here and they're using that bathroom in kindergarten, 1st and 2nd, we can't just let people go down there because 3rd graders can be a bit, can't just go out there and cause trouble down there. So we're going to need someone to kind of keep tabs, kind of walk down with them. So if someone needs to use the bathroom during free time or whatever, if they ask you, you can watch us down the hallway, make sure they're going to the bathroom and coming back. We probably won't have any trouble with the 2-adult rule because we're going to be in spaces where there's tons of people all over the place. So, but if there ever is a scenario where it's just you and a group of kids, you want to quickly remove yourself from that situation. So if you get into Bible theater and for some reason you're the only group there, it's just you and the 8 kids, step out to the hallway and wait for another leader and group to come in.